g'day. How you going? What do you know? We'll strike a light. G'day, g'day. And how you going? Just say g'day, 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 and you'll be right.
Now we come to the portion of the service before we do our Bible study that we talk about some end times news and trends that are happening around the world as it relates to Bible prophecy. And again, there's so much stuff that's happening on a daily occurrence. It's hard to keep up with everything. Hundreds of not only emails come through, but news reports that come up. And it is astonishing sometimes to see and to hear some of the things that are going on each week, and it's picking up speed. And it's like the signs are getting closer and closer and bigger as like you're approaching the airport. It's more frequently we're seeing these things happening. And again, I just want to remind you the purpose and why we do this on a weekly basis is just to keep you informed, to keep you in the loop, to keep you updated. And again, we're just barely even scratching the surface of some of this stuff. But that's not the main purpose why we're gathered here together. Again, to study God's Word is the preeminent reason why we're here. But it's good to know what's happening around the world from a biblical perspective. So here's a couple news headlines that I'm just going to read them off and just grabbing your attention. ISIS wants global civil war, according to the Daily Beast website. ISIS warns London next to be attacked as the UK churches put on terror alert after French priest murder, how he was beheaded this past week. And that's out of the Mirror website. Iran threatens to shut off the Strait of Hormuz, out of the Times of Israel. So you're starting to see the intensity of these things, and you have to take these threats seriously. Even out of the Express, Merkel, the Chancellor in Germany, admits the EU is being ravaged by terror, but says Germany should still welcome more refugees. Hello? This is where the terror is coming from. Brilliant plan, though. How's that really working for you in France and also in Germany and other parts in Sweden? You see the ravaged terror that's happening because of the Islamic invasion. But yet, we want more of you guys coming over. And then we see what's going on in the surrounding nations of Israel. Hamas, again, which they operate in where the Palestinian people are, the area to the west and south. Hamas digs 6 miles of tunnel each month underground. Because what they did last time in their 50-day wars, they're going underneath the ground and coming up and attacking the Israeli Defense Force. And then to the north, you have Hezbollah, who's being armed by the Russians, according to Debecca website. And the article talked about how Russian arms supplies to Iran's Lebanese proxy Hezbollah. So, what you see, here's the nation of Israel. To the north, you have Hezbollah that wants to destroy Israel. To the southwest, you have Hamas and the PLO. To the east, you have Syria and ISIS and Iran all creeping in to the door. It sounds like Psalm 83 and also Ezekiel 38 and 39 all coming closer and closer together. Each day, each week, it's getting closer and closer for that to happen. And again, all these people are wanting to destroy and bring terror to the state of Israel. And like we say each week, pay attention what's happening to Israel, but also the surrounding nations, as these pieces of the puzzle are coming closer and closer together. And some other news items to talk about, again, in the end times as we go through Matthew 24. It gives you kind of a list of the signs of the times. And one of the signs is the earthquakes in various places. And if you've seen the frequency and the intensity of earthquakes all over the place, but even here in Australia, in WA, there's this report that came out of the Australian Geographic website, 33 earthquakes in 30 days. And this was a town outside of Perth, about 720 kilometers east of it, but they're experiencing so many earthquakes in this town. As the report said, about 33 earthquakes in 30 days. And there's others that was a staggering 50 earthquakes that was hitting the area over the last 2 months. when you add it all up. 30 earthquakes this month, 18 alone on July 8th and July 9th. Crazy stuff happening, all over the world with the number of earthquakes that are going on. And so you're going to see the frequency, the magnitude of these things hitting all over the globe, and other natural disasters that are going to continue to increase. On an economic issue, eventually we'll see another crash as you see what's going on in countries around the world, even Japan, how they're trying to pump in more stimulus. They've already done it in the previous years and months. Now they're trying to put in another $265 billion, dollars to try to stimulate the economy. You can put all that stuff in. Eventually, it's going to crash, just like all the other global markets around the world. And then coming up this week starts the Olympics, as you know. So many reports are coming up how Rio is preparing for the worst as terror threats hang over the Olympics. So again, over 500,000 tourists, dozens of heads of states and attention around the world and the media. And if there's ever a headache for an anti-terror force, this is it, the Olympics. And again, the aftermath of the attacks by ISIS that happened in France and quite a few times there. Elsewhere, like in Brazil, they've never experienced this sort of stuff. But Rio does have one of the highest murder capital rates in the world, if you weren't aware of that. So beefing up the security has been their primary focus right now. It starts on Friday, our Saturday time, because of the time difference here. Another report that came up, and this came out of the Fast Company website, and it talked about how the government there is trying to deploy 47,000 security guards, 65,000 police, and 20,000 armed service personnel to patrol the games, and they're also putting this drone in the sky to watch 24/7. Again, you can do all that. It's probably still not going to be enough to cover what needs to be handled in that place. And again, last week, the Brazilian police arrested 12 that were alleged to be planning with ISIS inspired attack at the games. So they're doing their best, but anything's possible. But it'll be interesting to see what will happen or if anything would happen, because that's another component to terrorism, is putting fear within people too. This not only do they already have the fears with the Zika virus, but then now you have this terrorist threat. So it'll be interesting what's going to take place over the next 3 weeks. Certainly it will affect the nations around the world if something as drastic like a terrorist attack does happen. Praying that it doesn't happen, but again, as you see the agenda of ISIS, the agenda of terrorism, it's not going to stop just because police are there. On a separate note, this report came out on Wednesday, where the Pope, on the priest killing, said that the world is at war, but it's not a religious one, really. So, after the slaying of the Catholic priest who was beheaded by ISIS, which is part of Islam, he stressed out that this is not a war of religion. Beg to differ, but this is exactly what this religion's teaching. And it's amazing to see how people just keep denying the existence of ISIS or their real agenda and what their goal is. And then lastly, again, because we can go on and on, this one was just kind of bizarre. The UK police launch a rainbow police car to fight hate crime. So, again, they need to eventually define what hate is. But if you speak out the truth against the LGBT community and the the medical problems of the gay lifestyle, that's hate speech. So you'll be eventually locked up, put in prison, like they want to do in Canada. If you speak out against transgender, you get 2-year sentence. So it's interesting to see how they're now pushing their taxpayer dollars to help fund this particular patrol, to go around to make sure that you don't speak the truth against this particular lifestyle. But it shouldn't be shocking, but again, it's going to get more intense in these last days with this whole agenda the LGBT. But again, speaking the truth about the LGBT is not a hate crime. Not accepting or embracing this lifestyle is not a hate crime when it comes down to it. But because they have a different idea of what hate is, that's what will be defined what hate is. Just because you don't bow down to them or giving them special treatment is hate. And so just another signs of the times as it was in the days of Noah. So it will be in the last days. And so, again, we can go on and on with so many other news items, but this is it for now. And that concludes today's update.